Welcome to Real Estate in the Tri-State, where we talk about all things buying, selling, and investing in the Dubuque area. Featuring experienced locals giving you their real estate insight. My name is Abby Rottler, and here is your host, my husband, Rob Rottler.
Welcome back to another episode of Real Estate in the Tri-State. This is episode number 20. And today's guest is the Rule and Rule managing broker in Dubuque and Galena. He was also the Realtor of the Year in 2015. A true expert of real estate in the tri-state area. We are blessed to have him on. He grew up on a farm, went to high school in Dubuque, and soon after grew some thick calluses from laying brick in the area. Legend has it that he could gather 10 pounds of mortar with every scoop of the trowel. Since those days, laying brick, he has found his niche in helping realtors become the best they can be, and also has built up an impressive real estate investment portfolio in the area. He's a family man with 4 kids and an endless supply of movie quotes. I'm sure we'll get to some. Ladies and gentlemen, the great and powerful Jeff Hefel.
Thank you, Rob.
Appreciate you being on. And folks, if you noticed that I was talking a little bit faster there in that intro, it's for no reason whatsoever.
It could be that you did a great job the first time, and we had a great conversation for the last half hour, but none of it was recorded. I wonder how that happened. It couldn't be you not hitting the button, because I remember specifically saying, is it recording? And then you said yes. So I know that that's not what the problem was.
I think there was a ghost that might have hit the button.
That could be.
It might have been a ghost.
So now we got to go all the way back through what we're drinking. Now we're going to need refills pretty soon.
We are going to need refills. Folks, we're going to start with the beverage list here. I am drinking coffee, water, and a fancy, lovely first-time drink called the Colorado Bulldog. And Jeff is going to tell us about that.
I will tell you about the Bulldog. I just got to say, though, I love that you keep checking the computer to make sure that you're recording this time.
It's still going. I'm telling you, it was a ghost.
Could be. Yes, the Colorado Bulldog, ladies and gentlemen. You may know the White Russian from such cult films as The Big Lebowski, and basically just that. But the White Russian is a favorite drink of mine, and the thing is, it's mostly alcohol. It's usually 2 shots of vodka, a shot of Kahlua, and some half and half. Now, when I make it, I like to do about 50-50 vodka, Kahlua, and then just about probably an equal part half and half as well. I like the flavor.
A third, a third, a third.
A third, a third, a third. Yep.
Very good. So then what do you do? So that's a White Russian.
That's a White Russian.
I'm assuming is a fantastic drink, but we also have to put together articulate sentences.
Correct. For a while. A half hour longer than we thought, actually. So
time flies when you're having fun.
That's right.
Here's the deal. We are cheersing now, and we're going to enjoy a sip of this. Here's the deal. This was all just part of my plan because I knew you would like to have a test run in explaining your drink here.
Yeah.
So we're back at it. Now, what's the difference between the White Russian that you just explained and the Colorado Bulldog that we're drinking?
Yes. The only difference is the Colorado Bulldog is a White Russian with root beer added to it.
A fantastic pop.
It adds that slight vanilla flavor. There's a little fizz in it then. But the main reason you want to do that is because if you're going to be talking for a while, you don't want your drink to be like 90% alcohol. You want it to be like 50% alcohol.
Yeah.
So that you're not, confusing your words and stuff. So, boom, you add a little root beer to it. You got yourself a Bulldog and a fun night ahead.
Absolutely. And we did not take any Alpha Brain before this.
We did not.
No. So
we might not form sentences as well as we otherwise would have.
Right. Because Alpha Brain, if you follow Joe Rogan and some of the things that he advertises, really, let's not forget Onnit is the actual company that produces this. Well, I think people forget that.
Speaking of things that Joe endorses, you are actually currently wearing your Whoop strap.
Absolutely. I'm a freaking raving fan of the whoop strap. There's not very many things that I'm like, I feel very strongly about, which is one of the reasons why I don't have a tattoo.
Yes, that's the same. Yes, I feel the exact same way.
So many people are like, Rob, you got to have a tattoo. What's going on? Like, become more badass. Get a tattoo. I'm like,
get some barbed wire, dude.
Yeah, right around the bicep. Won't regret it later.
Get a tribal tat on your pec.
There we go. That'd be like The Rock. Then would I automatically be like The Rock?
Not as much as Chris.
True. Yeah. So here's the thing, though. I don't feel like I'm not a huge, strong fan of a ton of things in my life. So that's why I don't have a tattoo. People tell me, get a tattoo. I don't have I'm not going to put a freaking real estate investment, I'm not going to put a real estate, like a house on my back or like on my shoulder blade. Cause that's what I'm really passionate about, right?
Right here. Do you know anyone looking to buy or sell in the next couple of months?
Yes. That'd be great. Where would you put that? So that you get max exposure.
That's a good question.
Maybe
max exposure is going to be your forehead, but I don't think people are going to work with you.
Probably not. Where is the most reasonable place you'd put that tat that would actually serve you?
I don't know if that tat could serve you.
Right.
Like, there are some things you might be able to do.
I don't know.
That might help depending on your job. I can't think of a good real estate tattoo that is going to make people be like, oh, I want to know more about working with you as an agent.
Oh, man. This is a good challenge. Listeners, if you have any ideas here, let me know. Shout out or hit me up on Instagram, Rottler Realty, at Rottler Realty. Let me know what you're thinking as far as a real estate tat.
Yeah, that's a really good challenge.
It's something I'm passionate about.
I'm interested to know more about that.
But I'm also passionate about the whoop strap. Which, if you want to know more about it,
that's where we're going with it.
Go check out Joe Rogan podcast, which is now exclusively on Spotify.
Yeah.
Any of the first 5 minutes, 6, 7 minutes, he's going to have an advertisement on it. And he is also a huge fan of it. I actually have a team. So what you can do with the Whoop, Jeff, I haven't told you about this.
Oh.
I haven't told anyone about this.
Oh, wow. Breaking news.
You can create your team, right? And basically, it's like a way you can kind of force some accountability if you want. So I have a team created, and I have a buddy that's on it. I went and I added Joe Rogan. I requested that he join my team.
Did he join it?
Here's the thing. He didn't join it. But I'm also thinking, like, I got a chance here because there's literally zero downside. Like, he joins my team. I start seeing his whoop.
So you're telling me there's a chance?
That's right. Wait, is that a movie quote? It's got to be.
That is, yeah.
What
Dumb
movie?
and Dumber.
So there's a chance, folks, because here's my thought. Like, I was going to press request, Joe Rogan request, join my team, that type of thing. It's like, what's the worst thing that could happen here? Like, he says no. And the other thing, too, is that, like, there's no risk for him. Aside from me, like, having a slight hint at what he does physically and sleep wise, like,
which he basically talks about all the time anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, like, Joe, why not? Like, if I'm Joe Rogan, I'm sitting in the studio, whatever.
Joe,
I get a
Joe,
text.
if you're out there,
if you're listening, Joe,
if you're one of the 75 people listening,
yes, please. But I get a text. If I'm Joe Rogan, I get a text. Rob Rottler requests you join his Whoop team. Well, I'm going to say yeah. Like, if I'm Joe, I'm saying yeah.
I might as well.
Why not?
There's no downside.
There's no downside. You can join as many teams as you want. Doesn't matter.
Should do it.
I'm not going to get his social security number.
That's right.
So.
But there might be people who could get it from doing that. Maybe that's why he doesn't do it.
Maybe.
The hackers are out there.
There are hackers. You got to look out for them.
That's
There's
right.
only one real estate in the tri-state, folks. There are no copycats yet. But I also don't have a Spotify contract for $100 million.
Not yet.
That's right.
Not
Yet. I really like saying that.
Yet.
What do you, like, in all reality, I think mindset is a huge thing for many things in life. And I really like when someone says something like that and just saying yet. Like just slapping it on the end, just like you did to me there. I think that's a really good little thing there.
It is.
And every time,
Not
like,
famous yet.
Yep. I'm not famous yet. I'm not a millionaire
Yet.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
Yeah. And you know what? You know what will make you more famous, though? If everybody listening goes ahead and subscribes and then shares this with a friend, everybody out there, do that for Rob, okay? Because this is good stuff. I've listened to probably 15 of the 18 that have been released as of the recording of this one, and I've loved them all. And he does a great job, and he keeps getting better.
I appreciate that. Yes, I do strive to get better at this, and the subscribes are huge, and the shares are huge. I can see in my little database here how many subscribers there are. I can't really tell how many listeners. Mm-hmm. Usually the subscribers and the listeners is pretty correlated, depending on who's got their Wi-Fi on.
Ah.
But the episodes that get the most traction are the ones that are shared by people on social media. So I appreciate any listeners if you do share. That is like one of the best things that you could do to support the show. So thank you.
Share away, people.
Appreciate you shouting that out, Jeff. Give me
no problem.
A little inspiration.
I'm excited for your success.
Isn't that a huge part of like your role?
It is. I'm genuinely excited for your success with this, but regardless of the fact that
that is your role.
My job is to be excited for your success.
So tell us more about your job.
Oh, I would be happy to. Do you need some ice?
Yeah.
What is my job? My job is to make good agents and make them great.
Ooh. How do you do that? Tell us more.
You should tell them how. That's what I'm doing with you right now.
You're right. I can tell them how because I've seen it firsthand. Here we go.
Take it away.
So, as the managing broker of the Dubuque and Galena offices, Rule and Rule, my manager, Jeff Hefel, what he does to support his agents. I'm going to forget a bunch of shit here.
You probably will. That's fine. I'll fill you in.
Yeah, you fill it in because I'm not going to do it justice.
It's okay.
Generally bringing a positive attitude to the office. Running and coordinating our weekly sales meetings. Scheduling and coordinating company events. Scheduling and coordinating weekly trainings. Participating in new agent training. Some of those videos. Being a sounding board. I'm sure that's...
Oh, yeah.
That's a huge one.
That's a little bit of it, too.
Uh-huh. Taking care of anything that an agent might need.
Just about anything.
Late night phone calls, potentially sometimes.
Do a few of those.
Yep. Maybe some angry people at times. Sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes.
Usually pretty positive attitudes.
Yeah, every once in a while you have,
frustrations.
When you have a few hundred transactions go on in your office in a year, there might be one person that's not happy, and you need to just talk them through it a little bit.
Yep.
I have not had too many people that contacted me upset that were still just as upset when we got done talking. And sometimes people just need to be heard, whether it's an agent or it's a client. Sometimes you just want to be heard. Sometimes as the broker, you just want to be heard, And
right now's your chance.
You heard me. Great. But other times, yeah, you need to walk through a situation and figure out what happened, and if it needs to be corrected in the future, how to do that, if they need some explanation. But I would say 90% of problems can be eliminated before they happen by setting expectations.
Dang. So you're going to have to tell us more about that.
Yeah, I will tell you more. I'm just watching to make sure you don't overpour. Oh yeah, you're being safe. Okay.
We are being safe in the studio.
That's right. So yeah, setting expectations. It's a good idea whether it's in business or your personal life. You got to make sure people know what to expect, and then when what does happen happens and they already expect it, it's smoother. It's just a smoother transit. Ooh, that's a lot of. You went heavy on the creamer.
I'm not a experienced bartender
No,
like you.
I would have happily done it for you, but that's okay. Next time.
I'm having fun here.
Yeah, you are having fun.
I feel like mine's the wrong color.
No, that's good. That's fine.
All right.
That'll work.
So 90% of problems can be resolved by just setting expectations better.
It can be avoided by setting expectations. Yeah.
God dang, I gotta figure some of that out.
Yeah, I think you're
Comes
doing
with it.
You're figuring it out. You're getting it figured out. But yeah, there's a lot of things that if said in the moment, it sounds like, well, that's just an excuse or you're just trying to smooth things over. But if it's said 3 weeks earlier,
Yeah.
it's like, remember 3 weeks ago when I said that? Oh yeah, okay. So this was one of the things that could happen. So I always like to try to set expectations for the good, the bad, and the most likely.
Ooh, that's good.
Yeah.
I have heard, like, Carl will talk about setting expectations for, like, worst case, what could happen, and then what probably will happen.
Right.
Similar deal.
Yep.
Similar deal.
Similar
I like
situation.
that. Because I feel like if you just say what, like, best case and worst case, like, they're like, well, shoot, I got a 50-50 shot here of it being this terrible worst case scenario.
Yeah. When you actually have like a 5% chance of that happening.
Yeah. And it comes with experience, right? So I can, like, when I was getting started in real estate, I'd always have to, like, tell someone else's story almost. Like, this thing with the inspections probably won't happen. Like, it's just not very likely to happen.
Right.
Now I can legit say, like, I've been doing this for, 2 years, almost 2 years, over a year and a half.
That's almost 2 years.
Almost 2 years. I can say, like, oh yeah, this has never happened. It could happen, but it hasn't happened in my 2 years that I've done it,
Yeah. Well, and that's kind of the nice thing too, being with Rule and Rule, 300 and some agents in business, 150 plus years. We've seen just about everything from the very, very worst to some of the, greatest highlights of people's lives. So yeah, that helps.
It does help. And I always like to, like, telling my clients, if they ask, which they don't usually, if they ask, like, you've only been in it for a year and a half, like, what if you miss something? What if you forget? I can tell people, well, here's the deal. Like, I have my manager who's full-time, like, he's there for me to get, to answer any question I might not know. If I don't know, I will ask. I will figure it out.
Right.
You can I'll promise you that type of thing. And then also, like, we have an attorney.
On staff. Yeah. Mike. You got to get Mike on the podcast.
Shout out Mike Wendt. If you're listening, get on here, man. We really need you.
Yes.
But so we have attorney at Rule and Rule. Like, I can legit call an attorney who is there, again, to support agents in any sort of tough situation, which is like...
Yeah, Mike's been awesome. So, like, when I started long ago in, 08, I think I started officially January of 08. And I was pretty new. I'd only been in real estate since July of 05. So I had a lot of questions. So having an attorney, and at that time we had a general manager, which now the managers are so awesome. We manage ourselves in addition to all the agents. But we had a general manager and Mike, the attorney, and, like, he was a huge resource for me because I would have agents come to me and be like, I don't know. I think it's this. I'm going to double check with Mike.
Right.
And and it just got to be like, and then, a year later, you're calling a little less. Year after that, you're calling a little less. And then it gets to be like, I'm just going to see what Mike's up to.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
And, like, we also have, like, we have a huge support staff, which was attractive to me when I came over to Rule. Doug Himmelman, like, if I ever had, like, a tax question or financial, like, I've never. I'm going
to use the Rob Rottler word, beast. He's a beast.
He is. Here's the thing. I've never really, like, reached out for, like, a specific problem, but I know if I did have one, I would go to him.
Yeah. Doug's math. He's a math whiz.
Yeah.
CPA.
Spreadsheets.
Yeah. No, Doug's amazing. I mean, he knows so much. He can help you with tax questions. He always sends you to your accountant, officially.
Yeah.
But he does have a lot of good help on tax questions and keeps everybody updated and like, hey, just, company-wide email. Don't forget your quarterly payments are due, at this date. This is what it is for Illinois. This is what it is for Iowa. This is for feds. And I'm like, God, that's awesome to have somebody that just like reminds you of that.
Yeah.
In addition to like all the other amazing stuff that he helps with, the year-end goal setting, like those sheets that he makes.
Yeah, there's so much to it.
We were just talking about it. We're like, yeah, it's a little intimidating to like an agent the first time they see it, but you start going through. It's like, okay, this is what I want to make. Okay, so then how do I work that back? Okay, if I do this many deals, I have to take this many listings. I'll have to meet with this many people. If I take listings at 200,000, I only get to here. But if I take more of them that are like 250, then I get to here. And there's just a ton. Like it really helps people open their eyes to what they need to focus on to get to their goal. Obviously, like your service is the main thing.
Yeah.
But like, how do I, who should I be serving?
Yeah. Yeah, that was a huge thing for me too. Coming over, it was like, okay, I think I feel like I have a decent understanding, a good understanding. I've been in the business for a year on how to fill out like a purchase contract, how to fill out like a listing. Right. I think I know these forms. I think I know how to fill them out, all that stuff. What I wanted to know is like, how do I grow? How do I get better? Right. How do I, like, what's the path here? Because I was floundering, in my first year, like, what should I do? Should I make a bunch of Facebook posts? Like, is that going to do it? Should I, should I do open houses, or is that a waste of time? Should I
buy some leads?
Should I buy some leads on Zillow?
The leads are weak. Glengarry Glen Ross, right there.
Glengarry
Glen Ross.
What the heck is that?
The leads are weak. The leads are weak. You're weak. No, but those leads are weak. I mean, they're okay. People make, you spend $100,000 a year on Zillow leads. You'll make more than $100,000 probably if you don't suck. Or you can spend like $10,000 keeping in touch with people that like and trust, and adding value to their lives throughout the year and getting the referrals because they know you're awesome.
And it's more enjoyable too.
Yeah, it is. It really is.
Yeah. It's good stuff. It's really good. So 2020, crazy wild year. How do you think you're going to remember this year? Like what are you going to really remember most?
I'll tell you what I'm going to remember most this year. This year, I'm going to remember going down to Texas, to Arlington, Texas.
Oh, yeah.
For Game 4 of the World Series, seeing the Rays win 8-7 in one of the most awesome endings to a baseball game in history. Now, obviously, you were thinking I was going to say something about the pandemic, something about pivoting.
Here's the thing. There's been a lot of baseball games played.
There has. Yeah.
And it's been one of the most awesome endings. What the heck happened?
That game, now, granted, my Rays did not win the World Series. My buddy Ron Bezler was pretty excited that the Dodgers won.
He's a Dodgers fan.
Yeah. And they'd been waiting a lot longer. The Rays have only been around 22 years. The Dodgers hadn't won in like 32 years. So whatever. It's fine. I'm over that part of it. The Rays' best years are ahead. But that game was phenomenal. And it's like hard to describe. Like just Google end of Game 4 World Series 2020. Like it was like a Little League game. The Dodgers bobbling the ball twice, the catcher missing it, Randy Arozarena coming around third, trips, falls. They get the ball to home plate, but he doesn't actually catch it. So he swipes his empty glove across the plate, and Arozarena's not there yet. Then he realizes, oh shit, I didn't get the ball. Runs after it. Arozarena gets up, runs, and like dives and slaps the plate for the win. And we had the most obnoxious Dodgers fans around us. So then we just went ballistic. It was awesome.
Bananas.
Yeah.
Woo!
Woo! Go Rays!
Ric Flair.
Yeah. It was. Yeah, that's what I'm going to remember from this year. There'll be a lot of other things, you know.
That's cool though. That's a sweet memory.
Yeah.
Because you've never been to the World Series.
No, never been to the World Series.
And to go watch your favorite team.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you're not a huge sports guy, but you're baseball.
Bought the tickets on Craigslist. Like, it was feeling sketchy for a little while, but Taylor was the guy I bought them from. And he ended up being okay. He gouged me a little, but you know.
Yeah.
It's a good experience. It was worth it. It felt like a gouging till I got there and that happened. And then it was like, whatever. Every time was worth it. That's what we work for. So.
Yeah. That's freaking sweet.
Yeah. And the boys got to go, which, you know, people who know me know, like, I'm not like this huge kid person. Like, oh God, kids are the greatest blessing from God, blah, blah, blah. You know, I'm more like, yeah, they're nice. You know, I get along with my kids.
Yeah.
You know, but I had the opportunity for them to get to experience something like that and thought, you know, they watched every game at home with me. You know, Andrew had football practice, but he'd come home from football practice, catch the end of the game. Chase was at every game with me. And I'm like, it just doesn't feel right not to take them. Yeah. You know, and I was glad I did. It was pretty awesome for us. So.
Yeah, that'll be a special one to remember for a long time.
Yeah, I think they'll remember it forever. I don't know. I hope so.
2020. What else happened this year? Anything?
Let's see. Politics was pretty boring. There wasn't much going on there.
You've been my political. I don't know what's the word called for like a briefer.
A briefer?
Like if you're going to brief someone on something.
That's a good question. I guess I've provided your political briefings.
You've provided my political briefings.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah. Rob's not a big internet or TV or radio guy.
Pretty old school.
Yeah.
Got an old soul.
Yeah.
Like to read a hardcover book.
Yep. So I'd keep them kind of posted on what was happening.
Yeah. Let me know, people who are listening, let me know what's happening in your lives because I'm not seeing it on Facebook. Here's the thing too.
Yeah.
I've noticed this. Okay, so there's a backstory. I used to be addicted to my phone.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I think I remember you talking to Abby about this, I think, on this show.
Yeah.
Was that not?
Yeah,
I think
probably. Yeah. I used to be addicted to my phone back in college, especially my college roommates would notably be like, what the heck is going on? Get off your phone. Like we're trying to be a freaking cool college house. Like we're trying to interact with each other.
You're missing all the chicks, dude.
And I'd be like, dude, check this out. Like I'm scrolling through Facebook. Oh, look at this cool video. It's a cat video. Ooh.
Cat video.
So then I got into my later life. Which is, I almost like flipped a switch. And it's kind of weird this point in my life, but I was like, all right, I'm not going to do that stuff anymore. And I started focusing more on things that I thought would serve me better in the future, long-term investments in myself, learning, education, all those type of things. Anyways, so that's the backstory. So fast forward to today, I don't have my phone, like I don't have much social media on my phone. And I have like time limit things. I don't have notifications. Like I've done a lot of things to try and kick this phone addiction.
Is Abby not the keeper of the passwords?
Abby keeps my password for Facebook. Yeah, I do not even have it. I don't know what it is. And like she'll come to my laptop, like if I need to check it like once a week almost. Yeah. And I'm like, hey, can you come sign me in? And she's like, don't look. I'm like, I don't want to see it. Because if I see it and I know it, like I'm going to waste a bunch of freaking time on there. Yeah. I don't want that. Anyways, long backstory. But I've found that, you know, everyone puts their big things on Facebook. And it's a great way to stay in touch with people, like see what's happening in their lives, those type of things, which I've been missing. So I try to catch as much as I can, like once a week and scroll for like an hour. Yeah. Like try to get through all the good stuff. But I've also had conversations with people and I'll say like, hey, what's new? And like they would have had like a big thing happen in the last month or two. And they're like, oh yeah, well, we got married. I'm like, oh, like I didn't even know.
No
like how
kidding.
Cool, right? Huh. You know, like back in the day, 20 years ago, people would be like, oh wow, congrats, awesome. That's so cool. Like tell me about it. And now I'm like, oh, I didn't know that. Or like, oh, this is news to me type of thing. And they're like, what the heck? Like, you're not a good friend. You're not keeping up with me on social media.
You're not a good friend. Pay attention to my feed.
Yeah. Isn't that weird? Like I get this feeling from some people like, are you not watching me on social media? Like, Like, are we not friends?
I think there's a lot of people that want to be watched on social media.
Yeah. A lot of people assume that everyone's watching, maybe.
Probably, yeah.
I don't know. Like, because I've had a few of those. It's not just been one time where I like talk to someone and like I totally missed a big event. Yeah. And I'm asking them, I'm like, hey, what's been happening in your life? I haven't talked to you in a month or two. And they'll tell me, and I don't know. Yeah. So that's an interesting thing. That's something that when I got rid of Facebook from my phone, I never thought I would run into.
Right.
But people are like, you should be freaking watching me on social media.
Don't you see all the awesome stuff that I post?
How dare you not watch me on social media? Yeah.
I'm amazing. You should know that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you watch The Social Dilemma on Netflix? Yeah. That was like, I took a week off for sure. And then it was like, I was looking at my phone, like my screen time and how much was allocated to Facebook. And it would be like, I don't know, 40%. And then it was down to like 2%. And then like 10 and then 10. And now it's probably up to like a normal level again. But I'm very careful now on what I like, what I respond to. Like, oh, this guy's an idiot. I'm going to explain to him. Then I'm like, wait a second.
If I do this,
I can't explain something to an idiot.
Yeah.
I'm going to keep moving. I'm going to keep moving. If somebody's not an idiot, I might try to explain it. But so if you think that I disagree with you, but I never say anything about it, I probably think you're an idiot.
That is funny. If you just let things slide. That's good. That's good.
No.
But here's the thing too that's scary. At least the way that movie made it sound is like, even if you keep something like a video pops up in your Facebook or whatever you're scrolling, even if you like look at it for longer than other content, they're picking up on that too. Yeah. Like you don't even have to engage anymore, which I feel like you probably used to have to. I don't know if they're getting that much better.
You probably had to engage, and then depending on how you engaged, and you get a I can't think of the word, but a manufactured reality, a curated reality. That's what I was looking for.
Yeah. It's just feeding into this bipartisan baloney.
Yeah, I know. People think that people have gotten worse and the politicians have gotten worse, and some of that probably is true, but I think if you just eliminated social media and even some of the normal media, I'm not like an anti-media, like, they're all against us, but they got their agenda a little bit, I'm not hardcore about it, but social media, like, I mean, anybody can just throw something on there and people are like, did you see this? Yeah. Did you see that this politician did this? I'm like, well, do you know if it's even true? Like, did you look at the article or just the headline?
Oh, God.
Yeah.
That's my first, I don't know if it's because I was in science or what. Like I did some research in college, and a lot of the research you do in college, you really have to be careful what your sources are. Right. But I feel like it's probably just like people grow up with it now. You see like tons of ridiculous things, and you see and the reputable sources, and so that's always my first question now. If I hear something that's nuts, like I remember being in the kitchen upstairs, Abby comes in. She says, Kobe died. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
That was a 2020 thing.
That was 2020, yeah.
Oh, R.I.P. She says, Kobe died. And I'm like, you're kidding. And she says, no, it's right here. I'm like, who's the source? That's the first question I ask. Yeah. If I hear anything like, and I suspect it was on social media, I always ask, what's the source? Or even if it was like anything. Yeah. Which I think is like, I think a lot of people could benefit from first questioning their source. Check the freaking source. Yeah. I get frustrated with some of that stuff, which is good because I'm not taking it in as much anymore.
That's the thing with like information about real estate. What's your source? That's why you and we strive to be the source.
That's right.
We have the information. We know what's going on.
People might ask about tax. People might ask me tax questions. I had the freaking tax guy across that very seat you're sitting in. I asked him all the questions that ever are asked. I know, like I went straight to the source.
Yeah.
Which is...
that's the best way to do it.
Yeah.
Straight to the source.
Straight to the source. That's good stuff.
Oh, yeah. That's real good.
So,
It's real good.
So tell us about real estate investing. How'd you get started?
How did I get started in real estate investing? So I was young.
That's usually good, right?
I think. I don't know. It's usually good to get started in something good young.
Time is
On your side. Yeah. So, I was younger, like early 20s. Was laying brick. I don't know if I was gathering 10 pounds of mortar with every scoop of the trowel, but I was a decent bricklayer. But I wasn't like a huge fan of it.
That's honest work there.
It is. My father-in-law did that his whole life, and he was the king of bricklaying, and good dude too. But I was doing that, and I loved working with him. I liked a lot of the guys that I worked with, but I just wasn't a big fan of like working outside when it's super hot or super cold. And usually if it's super cold, you didn't. But it was like, where is this going to take me? Am I just going to keep doing this? I hope this has been recording. I see you messing with it. So I wanted to do something else. I kind of wanted to like do my own thing too. And I was talking to my wife's uncle, and he was in a factory job, and he was kind of the same thing. Like, I need to find something else. So we looked at like a bunch of different like restaurant franchises, looked at like a Subway, Happy Joe's and all the stuff, and met with, was it not Joe, Larry Whitty, Joe's son. Talked to him, just went through a bunch of different stuff, ran these scenarios by our accountant and stuff. And, the one guy that ran a Happy Joe's, he's like, have you ever worked at a Happy Joe's or another pizza place? I'm like, no. He goes, do you know anything about making pizza or working in a restaurant? I'm like, no. He goes, do you know anything about working on pizza ovens or any restaurant equipment? I'm like, no. He's like, okay, I would say go ahead and get a job in the industry for like 4 or 5 years. And I'm like, dude, I'm not going to be a pizza boy for 5 years so I can do this. Like, that's not what I want. I don't know. Okay.
What was that guy thinking?
It makes sense. Like if you're, it makes sense.
You could, but you were talking about owning the restaurant.
Yeah.
Do you really need to know that much about pizza?
I don't know. I mean, have Jeremy on. He'll tell you.
Jeremy, you're coming on a couple weeks. Let's go.
But yeah, so we looked at all that stuff, and we determined like, okay, we don't know if we're going to do this stuff, and it's going to be hard to get a loan if you don't have like a business plan or experience in the industry. But what is pretty easy comparatively to get a loan for is rental property. So we started just looking at rental property, and we decided like we would build this empire.
Wait a second.
Wait, what?
What? How do you go from like, I might own a restaurant or something, or retail or some commercial business or whatever, to like real estate? How'd you get from there to there? Because I feel like there's a gap there. It's like something had to happen.
What happened was like everybody's telling you don't do it. The accountant's telling you don't do it.
Don't do the business?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, we didn't really know anything about this stuff, which I'm fine with jumping into stuff I don't know and kind of learning it. But but it was a little bit bigger endeavor or whatever. So he had owned a rental property previously, my partner at the time. So we're like, okay, cool. Let's just do that. Like it'll be, good enough way to get started. We can keep our regular jobs, do this. And then eventually, boom, we'll have so many we can quit. And that's not quite how it went, but we looked at a bunch of stuff. Just like, man, we saw some nasty places.
Really?
Like there was one dude, we went on a show. We looked at, what was it, it's probably like a 6-plex, 8-plex, I can't remember. Might have been more even, but the one apartment we were going to go into, the guy like opens the door, shirtless of course, and is like, oh, hey guys, I was in jail for the last week. I just got back, so it's kind of a mess. My dog was here the whole time, and it just reeked of dog shit. And it was like,
Jesus.
It's okay. We understand. But we're not buying it. Let's leave.
I was just looking through a few. Oh, it was like a duplex and a fourplex, like maybe a month ago, not even. And they were all occupied. No, 5 of the 6 units were occupied, and every single one we went into, the tenant, like it was, they were cheaper, rougher shape.
Yeah.
Every single one, the tenant was like, yeah, sorry, I got a mess in the kitchen. Sorry.
Meaning I haven't cleaned anything for a month.
It's not the kitchen. The whole fucking place is a disaster. You're literally stepping over like Legos here, a toy there, like a map over here, blankets, clothes, a body. There's a freaking body here just sleeping like a person.
Well, I'm glad they're just sleeping. That could have been.
That was the second showing.
Could have been a much more intense story.
That was the second duplex I'd ever walked through where there's just someone sleeping. Like I went on tour. I showed a property to some investor clients. There's just someone sleeping in the house. Yeah.
Hey, man.
Anyway.
Just because you got to do your job doesn't mean they got to get up.
That's true.
Yeah.
So you start walking through some of these properties.
Yep. So we went through a few, and there was like different schools of thought to get duplex, fourplex, single family home, and not really knowing anything about it. I just thought, well, like the more units you have, the more money you have coming in. Like if you buy a single family house and they move out, there's nobody covering your payment until you get somebody back in. And the rental market then wasn't really like it is now. It was a little slower. So I'm like, well, that would be foolish. Like,
yeah,
we need to buy something with multiple units. So if one's empty, there's still 3 or 4 paying for it. And so then we ended up with this 7-plex, which is now a 6-plex. But and it's down. It's at kind of near the corner of 3rd and Bluff. And what we liked about it was like Bricktown had just opened. And the Port of Dubuque was just being developed.
Really?
And this is a few blocks away. And I'm like, this is the future. Perfect. Like, this is right where we want to be.
Gold mine.
Yeah.
Retire now.
Yes, absolutely. So we borrowed the down payment from my dad. And then we went, got commercial financing for the rest of it. And bought it. And wow, it was... not well managed.
Why do you say that?
Like the guy who had it he was just letting a couple people stay there like really cheap.
You had a manager?
No. The guy who owned it before us.
Oh.
Like he was just like, oh yeah, you need a place to stay for a while. Like you can just rent this apartment for $200 and I'll pay all the utilities. I'm like, well, the electric's separate. Why aren't you at least making them pay the electric? So we had a dude in there that he like let these candles melt all over the floor. He went to the bathroom before he left, did not flush it, left broken eggs in the fridge with the power off. Oh. That was disgusting.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was rough. Like that's
so
where I think some people
like, at that point you're like you've been laying brick. So you're like, I can do this.
Yeah.
Screw these broken eggs. I'm throwing them out.
Right.
Starting fresh. Doesn't matter. Some people might see that and be like, you know what?
Some
this
people
whole
might do that and puke.
Yeah. This whole rental thing's not
that could have been the thing that like broke other people.
A lot of people, probably.
Yeah. But I'm like, no, I mean, we got to do this. It's just the way it is. Like, we're into this. We're going to stick it out. And, we didn't have, like, now I can be like, okay, cool. We're just going to clean all this crap out here. I'll pay somebody to do that stuff. And, we'll start working on it. But that was like, nope, I'm getting all these disgusting rotten eggs out. I'm cleaning all these maggots out. I'm pulling apart all of the rubber gaskets or whatever along the fridge. Like, I cleaned everything. Like, now I'd be like, that's disgusting. Just get rid of it. We'll buy a new fridge.
Yeah.
But I'm like, we can't do that. So spent like an hour and a half. That is the only time in my life that a smell has made me gag.
Ooh.
Yeah, it was bad. Like, I've changed some nasty diapers. I have 4 kids, and I've changed some nasty diapers. And I've seen some nasty stuff. I saw a guy get run over one time, and nothing
You can't just say that and not go into it. All right, what the heck?
No, I don't want to talk about that. It was, I don't want to. No, it was just kind of a freak accident that I was a witness to, and it was
the guy survive.
No, he did not. It was a rough day. My dad and my brother were there with me. We were working on one of my properties. It was a neighbor. It was freaky. My dad spotted it first. We went over, called 911 and stuff. But anyway, like these rotten eggs were disgusting. Yeah, we're getting back to that. But we got through it. Got the place re-rented. I had some guys in there that one time, like the curry smell was so intense. It was like, did you like rub this into the floorboards? What is going on? I had to like
What's
open
that
the
smell
windows.
like?
Spicy. I don't know. Yeah. But there's a lot of stuff along the way. But so that place worked out good. I still have it, and it's been working out good, and I've put a lot of money into it and made it into a better place. But we shortly after that, like a year later, bought a duplex on Romberg, and that was okay. Cash flowed fine. We should have been more. We should have been more like stringent with the tenants. Like, no, you got to keep this cleaner. You got to, like when, we don't know how that broke. It should have been like, well, I know I didn't do it, so you're paying for it. But I wasn't at that point yet where I said stuff like that.
Yeah.
Now it'd be clear. Like, no, the wind did not blow this shut and break the window. And you did it.
Yeah.
So we had that place for a while, and I was able to sell that as part of a deal with some units in an LLC that I also own part of, and kind of sold those together to another guy. And then when I sold that, I took that and put it into a house I have on North Booth. And so I was really stagnant. We bought the first place in 2003, the second place in 2004, and then like really did nothing except just maintain those and work our other jobs. And well, in the meantime, I should say we built some townhouses up in the Eagle Valley subdivision, and it was like real early on, and we didn't really know what we were doing there either. Just kind of jumped into that. And that's kind of when I got my real estate license. And at that point, then we just decided like he wanted to keep building. I wanted to just stay in investment property. So I bought him out then of the investments when we sold one of the townhouses. We figured it out. We made it work. But then I was just kind of doing that, just those 9 units or whatever for a while. And then 2012 I didn't 1031 it or anything like that. I was able to take enough loss with how bad the property had gone down in value. But the North Booth house turned out to be a good investment. And then shortly after that, I'm trying to think what the next one was. Well, actually the next year we moved and we turned our old house into a rental property.
Yes.
And then bought a duplex on Loris. And then a couple years later, a duplex on University, which actually I rent. It's easier to rent as a single family home. It's just a single family home with 2 kitchens and 2 electric bills. But, and then the last one, somewhere along the lines there, 2012, we bought a townhouse down in Florida. We wanted to like use it as a vacation rental.
Perfect.
And, like that was the plan, but it was like, I don't know. Like, I don't know if we're going to be able to cash flow this. Like, maybe we'll just get somebody in it. Like, we'll rent it full time for now and we'll figure something out. So we rented it full time to a lady in August of 2012. She is still there.
Nice.
So, yeah. So it's like working out. We're not using it, but that's okay. We're exploring the rest of the Caribbean. Yeah. So in our original conversation that didn't get recorded, we talked a lot about going island hopping and stuff. And so we're doing that instead of going down to Florida. But, but it's been a pretty good property for us. And that was a new construction, actually. It was like the only new construction happening in 2012 down there. So it's kind of cool. But, and then the most recent one was right next door to the Sixplex, was a duplex. And I knew the owner really well, because we had buildings next to each other for like 14 years. And he was ready to retire, moved to Arizona. He said, "Hey, Jeff, you said if I ever sold this to tell you." I'm like, yeah, you selling it? Yeah. So I probably paid more than I would have if it hadn't been right next door. But there was like the other building had garages behind it, but no real parking. And this had like a parking area. So I'm like, sweet. I'm now designating myself a spot for when I have to come down here for stuff. Paved that, that parking area was gravel, paved that and stuff like that. And then I've since been a little, in 2016, I keep forgetting. I should have made a list of everything. 2016, we bought the farmhouse that my mom grew up in. And that came with like 10 acres and a barn, a shed, garage. And so we we probably put 15 grand into just getting that kind of updated and cleaned up and stuff. And that's rented pretty steady. I usually have about 1 month every year and a half where it's vacant, just between tenants or whatever. But like the shed that I have there is rented out to actually the guy that I bought it from, my uncle that I bought it from. He had a bunch of stuff there that he didn't want to move all the way back to where he lived. So I've been renting that to him ever since. And that was kind of part of the deal too. He was moving pretty slow on getting the house ready for sale. Cause he called me originally and said, hey, I want to sell this house. So he called me cause I'm a realtor. And I'm like, that's cool. I want to buy it. Like before we even talk about anything, I just want to let you know that I want to buy it. And then I had one of the other agents in the office, talk to him. And I'm like, I'll pay you. I don't care, whatever. But just talk to him, find out what it's worth, give him your opinion of value. Don't tell me anything about what you come up with.
I like it.
I just want, this to be completely fair to him, and then we'll figure it out between he and I. He and I will figure it out. So, so that's what we did. So Jim in the office went out and looked at it. He actually listed his duplex out in Farley also. And, so then Jim told him what it was worth. I talked to him about it, offered to rent him the shed for a year at no charge, offered to help him like clean a bunch of stuff out, have my boys go out and help him for like a week cleaning stuff. And then, the whole family thing, really like to see it stay in the family, and so would he. So, so we ended up getting a pretty good price on that. And it's been a pretty good investment. Now I'm working with the Iowa Barn Foundation to try to get the barn restored. Before we bought it, actually, part of the foundation had caved a little bit and then pushed the pillars in the basement over. So the basement of the barn. So like the barn has a little bit of a slant. Yeah, a little lean in the basement. Then like the top of it's actually like really good shape. Oh, there's some holes in the roof too. So there's some rotted boards and beams and stuff that are going to need to be replaced. So, so I didn't even know the Iowa Barn Foundation existed.
How'd you get in contact with them, or how'd you find out about it?
Yeah. So I'm like, this is cool. I want to save it. It's going to cost a fortune. And I don't have a fortune to spend on just making my barn cool,
Yeah.
Cause I can't really make more money from it if it's cool.
Yeah.
So I just started researching grants for historic barns and stuff like that, and came across the Iowa Barn Foundation, and they have a grant program. And so I emailed them, left a message, I can't remember, and I think Jack Smith was the guy that got a hold of me. He's the Barn Foundation guy for Dubuque County. He came out and took a look at it, and I'm thinking he might say dude, it's leaning so bad, you're just gonna have to scrap it.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, this is in great shape. He's like, yeah, you got a little problem there and a problem there. He's like, but you can cable this and pull it back, straighten it out, replace that foundation wall, get a roof on it. You're good to go.
Jeez,
and
Jack.
I know. I'm like, wow, cool. For the last 4 years, my dad's been like, when are you tearing this thing down?
Jeez. Yeah.
You can get money for the wood. I'm like, yeah, I know. Barnwood, you can get money for barnwood. But I don't know. It's the barn's from 1885. The house is from 1885. I think the barn is from about 1885. And I just think it's too cool to just tear down. You when you look at it, the floor joists are logs.
No way.
Yes, they're logs, and then they smoothed off the top to put the floorboards on.
Wow.
Yeah, it's super cool. Everything was done by hand. It's ridiculous.
Imagine how they would have had to build that.
I know. That's what I think about with this house. With the house, with the barn, the well. The cistern. We ended up.
There's a cistern.
There was a cistern for the house. We ended up filling it in. We tore it out and filled it in because it made like a hump in the yard. And
Vocabulary. Let's get into some vocabulary on real estate in the tri-state. What is a cistern?
A cistern is an underground water storage unit.
And it's like a well?
It would be like attached to your
septic?
well. No. It would be where you store water. Like you would, like these guys, I guess, like manually pump the well, or maybe had a windmill going, and then pump the water into the cistern. And then I would say that thing probably held 2,000 gallons. It was big. I would think it would be at least 1,000 gallons. And then it would go through the pipe from the cistern into the house, like maybe into the basement, like they probably had like a hand pump in the kitchen.
Go.
Yeah.
Long time ago.
Yeah.
1885, they weren't even thinking about COVID at that point.
No, they weren't even thinking about the Spanish flu 40 years away. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's not forget about that.
Yeah. So yeah, there's just a lot of cool history. Like the well goes down, I don't know, however far wells go down. The water starts so you can't see to the bottom. But this thing is a freaking brick well. And I'm just thinking about like some of the shittiest places that I've had to lay brick, but none of them have been as bad as the bottom of a well. Like they're lowering, like I'm trying to figure out how do you do this? They have to be lowering
a brick
and mortar.
Well.
Yeah, they had to be lowering brick and mortar down on a pulley.
Hundreds of feet.
Yeah, and then you're just like, building this circle around yourself, going up a little bit each time. And then like, how did he go up? Like, what was he standing on? Was he hanging from something? Like, I would love to know how they did that. Like all the stuff that's built before modern technology is
the pyramids?
Yeah.
What the heck? How'd they do that?
Yeah, that is a much bigger question. How they did the pyramids?
Yeah, it's like building a well times 10.
Yeah, or like times 10,000.
Times 10,000. Because weren't these bricks? I've never seen the pyramids. I don't even know if I know anyone who has. These things are freaking massive,
I knew a guy who did.
Really?
Yeah, they're huge. Yeah. And they're the stones or whatever that build the pyramids are like huge.
Yeah.
They're like bigger than a car. And then it's like, how did they move them? And I did see one theory that they were round and they like rolled them into place and then they like chiseled them square, but I don't know if that's true. I think it was just aliens.
One of those conspiracy aliens.
Yes.
Let's not forget to get to talk about aliens on this show a little bit.
Let's talk about aliens.
So are aliens real?
Ooh. Yeah, aliens are real.
I think so too.
Yeah.
No, obviously, I think Joe Rogan is an outstanding podcast guest.
But maybe
we don't talk a ton about aliens.
Should we leave the alien talk to Joe?
Maybe he's better to talk about aliens.
He's done a lot more research on it than we have.
He has. And the crazy thing about it, he like knows a little bit about everything.
Yeah.
I
think if you interview 1,000 people,
1,500 over 1,500 now.
If you interview over 1,500 people, eventually you just learn a lot of shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I've interviewed 20 people for this podcast.
And you know a lot more than you did when you started, don't you?
Yeah, I definitely do. I can't imagine 1,500. That's a lot. That's a lot of interviews.
That is a lot of interviews.
And yeah, but he also talks about like how he reads a ton.
Yeah.
That's one thing that I want to do more next year is read more. Because I hear like when you talk about Warren Buffett or Mark Cuban, Bill Gates, Elon Musk, like these guys read a ton.
Yeah.
And when I go through my day to day, I'm like, geez, if I read for over a half hour, I feel like it's like, damn, that's taking up a lot of my day. Yeah. But these guys are reading way more than that. Joe Rogan too, like they're reading
or
hours
are they doing
and hours.
audiobooks?
They're reading.
They're reading it on the page.
Yeah. How the heck do they have time to do that?
I don't know. You're the king of the time blocking. How do you?
I know. I just had a long conversation with my wife last night about time blocking. Like, how am I going to time block more time to read? I don't know.
Jeremy's big on the audiobooks. When you get him on here, you can talk to him about that.
I know. I've heard a lot of good things about him. I like an audiobook. I've had a few. I just really I'm old school, you know?
Yeah.
Give me that freaking...
You are old school.
Give me the page. I want to turn the page. Feel it in my hands.
Yep.
You know?
Kinesthetic.
I'm a kinesthetic learner. Yeah. See, I learned that in education. That's one of those things that I'll take with me.
Oh, yeah?
From the education.
See, I learned that in Ninja.
Really?
Ninja's how they talk about it, yeah.
Because they talk about personality types.
Yep.
Kinesthetic learners.
Yeah. You want to make sure to... I thought the majority were auditory.
Or is it visual?
Could be. I think those two are close. I think kinesthetic's the smaller of the three. I don't know, but
that'd be like if you enjoyed PE in middle school. Kinesthetic. Yeah. Did you enjoy PE?
Not really.
Never a sports guy.
No. I don't like sports. I'm not a sports fan, but I do like baseball.
How does that work?
I don't know. I think it goes back to like when my brothers played baseball when I was a kid, and I would announce their games. And so I just got to, and then like we would watch Major League a lot with my dad, you know, like my dad did not watch a lot of movies, but he really liked Major League. He liked Die Hard.
He did a Christmas movie?
It's a Christmas movie for sure. That's not even worth debating because it's so clearly a Christmas movie, but like he's not a multiple, movie watcher like me, you know, where it's like, oh yeah, I saw that like 15 times or 35 times. He's like, yeah, I saw that. It was good. I might watch it again. But yeah, Die Hard was one he liked. Major League, I'll bet he's seen more than any movie because he really liked it. And so that was like a kind of, you know, got me into baseball a little bit. And then, I don't know, people were just into baseball when I was a kid. I did not understand football as a kid. My dad was not a football fan, so he wasn't like explaining anything to me. Baseball was easy to figure out. You hit the ball, you run to the base. If they get the ball there before you or tag you, like you're out. Football, like now, like kids growing up with no one to explain football to them have it so easy because there's the yellow line on the screen.
Yeah.
And like there's all these graphics showing you everything that's happening. I would watch it as a kid. I'm like, okay, so there's, you know, 5 guys watching this game, 6 guys watching the game. The 2 teams line up, they slam into each other, and these guys are happy. They line up again, they slam into each other, and now these guys are happy. And it looked like the exact same thing just happened. Like, why did they care about that? And then like, that guy just ran super far. I thought that they would be happy, but they're not. And then this guy only ran like 10 feet, and they're thrilled. Because I did not know like how downs worked.
And flags. And,
yeah. It was like,
oh, jeez.
So I'm like, well, this is dumb. I don't get these guys just slamming into each other. And like, sometimes it's good when they run, sometimes it's not. But baseball, it's always good when you run. That's what you're supposed to do.
Yep.
It just made sense. I liked it. It was fun to watch. It's America's pastime.
Wasn't baseball America's pastime?
Yeah.
Baseball was like one of the first like major popular games in.
Yeah.
Because it's simple.
Forever. Yeah.
Like you could play it in the alley, right?
Yeah. Or like in a field.
You could.
Like on a ball field, say. Yeah.
The guy could.
Yeah, they played it in the Civil War, I think, for fun. The soldiers. Not against each other. They just shot, but people on the same side would play. Pretty sure.
And you like golf a little bit?
Nope.
But you'll do it.
I'll do it. As long if there's carts and booze, I will golf.
Yeah, those are good parts of it too.
Yeah, they're my favorite parts.
Some people will argue like if you can drink beer during a sport, it's not a sport. Well, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm pretty sure golf is a sport.
Yeah, softball's a sport.
Doing it.
Yeah,
softball. Yeah. What about bowling? Bowling league. Another one.
Yeah.
I really like the one thing we don't know when we're talking sports. Basketball is I like basketball because you can do it like when you're 50, 60, whatever. You can do it by yourself. Like if you just have a hoop, you can
sure.
shoot.
Yeah, just shoot hoops.
That's a cool thing about basketball. It's unique too because like baseball, football, wrestling, no. Like so many other sports you wouldn't do by yourself.
Cross country.
There we go.
Yeah. You could probably throw the javelin by yourself if you wanted to.
You could.
By the way, when are you going to get All-American javelin thrower Aaron Healy on this podcast?
He is coming on early 2021.
Nice.
Look out.
Excellent.
All-American javelin thrower.
Yeah. Loris College.
Or Loris College. Yeah. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
It is.
So you were a realtor before you became a manager. Talk about that transition.
Sure. So got my real estate license so I could save money on commission selling those townhouses and all the future things we were planning to build, which we ended up not building. So I go to a home builders association event, and there's a realty company there. And I say, hey, what do you have to do to get a real estate license? Like I'm thinking like years of, education and stuff that probably don't want to get into. They're like, well, you take a 60-hour course, and then you pay for the license and you're good to go. Like, what? Like, that's it? You take a 60-hour course? Like, yeah. Like, so you can do it in like a couple weeks? Yeah. I'm like, oh, yeah. Do you have any information on that? So they gave me the information.
Yeah.
And I actually went to my partner at the time. I'm like, hey, you're off at like 2:30 every day. Why don't you do this? He didn't want to. So I'm like, well, one of us needs to. I'm doing it. So interviewed at Prudential Real Estate, which is not around anymore. And then I interviewed at Eagle Eye. And I really was like, I was not taking this like, I would not hire me. Like me now would not hire me then. Like,
really?
Yeah. I'd have been like, you know what? You seem like a nice guy, but you're not really taking this as seriously as we need you to. Because I said like, I've got these places I want to sell. I'm keeping my other job. I'm looking to do that. And both places seemed pretty decent. I knew a couple people at Eagle Eye, and they were like way more like relaxed with like, hey, we don't really have any expectations or standards or whatever. Like, just, come on board. I'm like, cool. And like everybody there was my age. Like we're all in our early 20s. Yeah. So I'm like, okay, this is cool. This is less intimidating than, these guys that are like my age now or a little older. So got my license with them and listed the townhomes, eventually got those sold. I sent actually one of the people, Terry and Angie have their own company now, Mozina Realty. But Terry was one of like the first people I talked to about this. He was my wife's boss at the time. And I'm like, hey, I was kind of thinking about real estate. And he was in it at the time. And I'm like, what do you think? And he's like, well, if you're organized, if you're good with people, kind of went through everything that you need to be. And I'm like, well, I'm not super organized, but I think the rest of it I kind of qualify for. And it was funny because I was just for no reason growing my hair out. And it was like probably like Keanu Reeves length, like down to your jaw or whatever.
Yeah.
6-7 inches. And he goes to my wife. He's like, I think Jeff could probably be good at this, but he's got to do something about that hair.
It's like the tattoo, like on the forehead. Like, do you know anyone who's looking to buy or sell real estate?
Right.
Probably not going to be beneficial to you there, Jeff.
Yeah.
Get it figured out.
So, so started with Eagle Eye. One of, I think it was Terry's actually advice was, just send a letter out to everybody telling them what you're doing. So I think I sent 75 letters on Eagle Eye letterhead. I'm in real estate. I can help you with residential, commercial, and agriculture. If anybody would have called me at the time and been like, I'm looking to buy a 600-acre farm, I'd have been like, yeah, okay. Let me check on that.
Yeah. Do you know what the going price per square foot is on commercial downtown?
I don't, but let me check on that and I'll get back to you. But I put that out there. And it was a good enough letter for, a young guy to write, but it did end up getting me one deal. A friend of my dad's that I'd send it to called me, said, hey, my son's been driving past the subdivision for a while, really likes this house and wants to buy it. And it was sold, but the builder was building another one. So we ended up, I think that was my first deal. Might have been my second, but yeah, we like went through it, said, can you build it next door? Yep. We're going to do that. Okay. Wrote the contract. It was done. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. That was easy. Like, it won't always be that easy,
Real estate's
Jeff.
easy.
Yeah. It is. It's so like, what did you have in this? Like 2 hours? But no, it was a neat experience though, and helping a young guy with his first home, and then a friend of mine that I was working with because I'd stayed in masonry because I didn't want to do this full time yet, and one of the guys that I worked with was selling his townhouse, so he listed that with me. That sold really quick, actually, to one of the other agents, and yeah, and then from there it was like referrals from my dad and a couple other people, and it was funny because like before Rule and being introduced to ninja selling and stuff, I was just basically figuring out as I went, doing what other agents are doing. Like, I guess when you're a realtor, you get a billboard or a big newspaper ad. I don't know what else you would do.
Yeah.
So I was spending like tons of money on this real estate guide, and I had some pretty good creative ads. I will pat myself on the back for some of them.
Let's talk about the one that I've seen.
Which one did you see?
The one that was in the
bathroom ad?
The bathroom. Freaking outstanding.
Yes.
That was good. You came up with that.
Yeah. Yeah. The bathroom ad. So my brother just started Gin Ricky's, and I said, hey, can I advertise at the bar somehow? He's like, I don't know. I'm like, what about in the bathroom? And he's like, well, what are you going to do? I'm like, well, I just want to put up an ad that says, go with the number one name in Dubuque area real estate, because beyond this door, you shouldn't have to settle for number two.
Yes, that is too good.
Yeah. And then Jeff Hefel's the best choice to list your property, and that's no shit. And yeah, so he let me do it. It lasted a couple weeks, and then like it was in a frame, and somebody punched it and broke the glass or whatever,
course.
so he took it down. But yeah, so that was kind of just more for fun and goofing around, and people that I know might go there, see it, and say something.
Yeah,
but yeah.
But in all seriousness, here's the deal, folks. I've always thought this: if you own a commercial space or somewhere where people are using the restroom, freaking put an advertisement right in front of their face at the urinal.
Yeah.
What are you doing? Like, because here's the deal. Anywhere else, like any other time, there's not a ton of time in people's lives where they're just standing somewhere for a minute and not having anything to look at. There's no phone, there's no TV or anything. If you put an ad in front of me at a urinal, I'm going to read it.
Yeah.
Like no matter
100%.
what it is.
100%.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And I go into a place and I'm like at the urinal and there's no ad in front of me. I'm like, God, I really wish someone was trying to sell me something right now. So bored. Like I'm just sitting here waiting for something.
What am I even doing here? Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah. What am I here? Yeah. So you did some creative advertising.
Yep. Yeah, I did took it's not always the coolest thing to do, but used my kids in some ads. That was kind of fun. Well, it's Christmas time now. I don't know when this will air, but it's Christmas time now. And we did a Home Alone ad. So the boys were little, and we had them just like Kevin doing the splashing the aftershave on.
I have seen this one.
Yeah. So they got their hands to their cheeks, and it said, "We heard you were trying to sell your home alone. We'll call our dad." Blah blah blah, and it went to all the stuff like benefits of working with a realtor and stuff. And
were FSBOs a thing back then?
Oh yeah, they've always been a thing. It's America, man. If you can do it yourself, people try to do it themselves. So yeah.
But the FSBO companies were the thing.
No,
not the same ones.
There might have been one. I don't know if it had started yet. Oh yeah, it did. Yeah. There was one around at the time, and I won't say their name because they ended up listing their own home with us, but we couldn't tell anybody, so I can't say their name.
Wah, wah, wah.
Wah, wah, wah.
That's good. So some fun advertising.
Yeah.
And you're finding some success, and then Rule comes along.
Yeah, and it was really good timing for me. Like sometimes things just work out, Feels like a lot of times they don't, but this time it did. So I'm talking to my wife. I'm like, okay, like I know it's like I haven't made a ton of money doing this yet, but I feel like if I really just go all in on it, I can start to make more money, and I want to get out of laying brick. So I feel like I just need to do it. Like I just need to go all in, stop.
Had you read The Secret yet?
No, I did not know about The Secret until Rule and Rule, actually. So I'm telling her, like, I think I'm just going to go full time, and it's going to be tough for a little bit. We just had our, we were kind of we just had our third kid, like the year before. So not a great time necessarily to reduce your income for a little while, but she was behind me, which was cool. And like a week later, the guys at Eagle Eye came to us. They're like, yeah, so we're going to do a retreat in the Quad Cities. We're going to change a few things with the company. We're going to have Wi-Fi throughout the building. We're going to go to appointed agency. And
Wi-Fi was huge back then.
Yeah.
Appointed agency.
Yeah. That's what we are. We're appointed agency. Before that, it was like, just look at anybody's file. But anyway, so like, yeah, we're going to do all this stuff. So we're doing this retreat in the Quad Cities. But first, we're going to have this little get together at the Greyhound Park Hotel. So we all go to the hotel. We walk in, and there's like all these Rule and Rule signs with our names on them. I'm like, what the hell is this? And there's this lady sitting at the front of the room. We're like, what the hell is going on? Like, yeah, so we didn't want to say anything, but
we sold out.
Yeah, we sold to Rule and Rule. They're actually originally partners. It was Rule and Rule of the tri-state area. It was a joint venture between Eagle Eye and Rule and Rule. And then a couple years later, Rule and Rule just bought the rest of it. But it was crazy because, like, I love the guys that started Rule and Rule. Like, I'm friends with most of them still, and they were good guys, and they were younger, but not a ton of structure. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That started Eagle Eye, and so we go into this, and I just decided that I'm going to do this full time, and then it's like, okay, so you're going to have your own website, and all your listings will automatically go to it, which like wasn't necessarily what always happened back then. So I'm like, sweet. And then we have this, and then we have this training, and we have a legal department, and we have the customer service department. We get leads here and all that, and I'm like, what? Whoa. Like, this is awesome. I came home and I'm like, Sarah, this is awesome. Like, I can't believe this happened right now. This is going to be so much better. Yeah. And it was a lot better. We had the structure, we had, all the training, like, some of my initial training was like, go do that, and then I'll take a look at it later. I'm like,
yeah.
What? Shouldn't you look at it before I meet with the client? Like, should I practice on the client instead of someone else? Okay. But yeah, so like I got a ton out of joining Rule and Rule, and then that, that was going good for like a year and a half, but there was a couple things, like it was completely different cultures. Like Rule and Rule, like we definitely have fun, as you know. We are a work hard, play hard. And Eagle Eye was more of a, get some work done, but we're definitely going to play hard,
Like St. Croix lifestyle.
Yeah, exactly.
Like the island lifestyle.
Yeah. And,
when were you wanting to have that house built?
Right. When we get to it, we'll get to it. No, those guys were okay, but it was not structured. There wasn't what we needed. But the people that had signed on for like, so it's cool if I do a deal a year, were like, wait, what? Like, there's a monthly fee? There's what? An expectation? I'm out. So we went from a huge office to like a medium-sized office. And then about that time, a couple people approached me like, hey, we're thinking about switching up managers. We thought you'd be a good option. I'm like, really? Like, you think I would?
Yeah.
Like, well, everybody likes you. You get along good with like the people at the corporate office. You get along good with all the agents. You listen to people. I'm like, okay. And like just before that, I had gone to a seniors real estate specialist class because I thought like the future is old people. Everybody's getting older. So I decided to become a seniors real estate specialist. And then I decided it wasn't for me, so I ended up giving it up. But the class that I went to get that designation, Mark Given was the teacher. If you get a chance, if you're a realtor and you get a chance to take a class from Mark Given, I would do it. I thought he was pretty cool.
He's still around?
Oh, yeah. Yep. I get a weekly email from him. Mark's
What's
Minute.
up, Mark?
Yeah. So he had a recommended reading list, and Rich Dad Poor Dad was on it. And he talked about that. I forget what he said, but he quoted something from it. And so, again, this wasn't necessarily recorded during this podcast, but we talked about island hopping earlier. When my wife and I were on a trip going somewhere, I wanted to grab a book to like read on the beach, read on the plane, and I saw Rich Dad Poor Dad. So I'm like, oh, cool. I'm going to grab that. And there was something, it's been a long time since I last read it, but there was something in there about like, if you want to be good at something, then like be around people who are good at that. If you want to learn about something, be around people that do it. And so that was kind of the thing that made me decide to do the management job. I'm like, I do like the selling part. I like, every day being different and stuff. But like, there's this lady, Caroline, who runs Roll and Roll, who took over like a 50 or 60 person company. And now it's like 270. Like, I bet I can learn some awesome shit from her, like, yeah, there's a lot there. I
feel like you could learn more as a manager.
Yeah. At that time, I think I'm just like, there's so much to learn from somebody who's done that. And then like all the other managers and stuff that I interact with on a regular basis. So I just looked at it as like, you know what? It's a learning opportunity. Maybe I'll do it for a couple of years, learn a bunch of stuff. Maybe I'll start my own company. Maybe I'll just go back to selling, whatever, and now it's like, I don't know, 12 years later?
12 years later.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, though. Like, you are the sounding board, or like all the biggest events, happenings, everything in the office, like channels through you somehow. Like, you hear of all the biggest problems, all the biggest wins, all the day-to-day in and out. Like, you see all of that. Yeah. You have to have learned a shit ton.
Yes.
Just within our office. Yeah. But then you're collaborating, monthly or weekly or whatever with all the other managers, and you're hearing about their offices.
Yeah. And it's crazy to see how much things vary from market to market, and learning how other managers do things, what will work. Like, there's certain things that'll work in the Quad Cities that won't work in Dubuque. There's certain things that'll work in Clinton that won't work in the Quad Cities, whatever it is, and just learn about it all. And then it's like, okay, well, let's try that, and and then like just being introduced to ninja selling. And that was like the first week that we were Rule and Rule, they played The Secret for us. And that too was like, whoa, what? I just gotta like think about it and act on it and it'll happen. What?
And think about it some more.
Yeah. But it was like, if as long as you're actually like working toward it, Secret works big time. And so it was like, there's a lot of life-changing stuff at Roll and Roll for me. And like changing for the better, like way better. Like it was just, I don't know if I'm completely different, but I'm a much different person than I was before I started, I would say. And and like that, every once in a while you're like, oh yeah, it might be kind of cool to go back. Just go back to selling. And it's like, I know, like I've been through like 9 installations. I'm like, I got this stuff down. But you really like I see you building your career, and being part of that for me is like, this is awesome, man. I'm like helping this guy do this,
That's huge.
And like Carl's another one. That guy, again, like Aaron, beast. Beast. Carl came just like, I'm doing some real estate, but I really want to be an appraiser, so like I'm gonna keep doing that. I'm like, yeah, no, that's cool. If you want to, be an appraiser, that's good. But I just think, if you maybe you checked us out, you'd probably benefit from it. And he came over. He's like, yeah, I think this is good. And it's like, yeah, I'll do some of this stuff. I'm like, you should really check out like this ninja stuff, and you should try to follow this and come to more of the sales meetings and stuff. At first, he was kind of like not really hanging around, and as he started to like integrate himself into the office more, he's like, yeah, I think I'm going to cut back on the appraising a little bit because I'm making some pretty good money in real estate now. I'm like, well, yeah, because like you're doing it, like you got a system now.
Yeah.
And then he went through the ninja installation, and he came out of that. And it was like a week later, and I remember like the first time we talked, and he said he didn't want to quit appraising. And I'm like, dude, you're going to be done appraising in like 3 months. He goes through the installation like a week later. He's like, I got it. I got to quit appraising. It's costing me too much money. And I'm like, I knew it. I knew that would happen.
You knew it.
Yeah. But it's because he's good. Like, you know, he knows a ton of people. He wants to add value. He does a good job of it. Yeah. He took off. There's a lot of people at Rule and Rule that are awesome that I love having in the office. And I'm glad like I had a hand in like helping them become who they are.
I can see where you can find fulfillment in that. Like my guest I just had on last week, he commercial lending, and he feels like he takes on part of the goals of his clients. Sure. He's like, when he finds out where they're at, like if they have terrible credit or something, like he loves being an integral part in there and like fixing their credit and like seeing them buy their first house or whatever. Like that's big time. That's meaningful work. That's good stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. I had one of the agents, I won't say who it was, but they were like talking about how like they had this big accomplishment like 10 years ago. And I'm like, that's not that big accomplishment. Like you are way more accomplished now. And like went through and listed all the stuff. I'm like, you are a rock star. Like, look at all this. Like,
yeah.
And they were just like kind of blown away by like, wow, yeah, that's cool. Thank you for pointing that out, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Just like that made me feel good.
Mm-hmm. So we're going to get into just a bit about what you see in different markets right after this bathroom break.
What do you see in different markets? Well, you see different commission rates in different markets.
I have heard about that, but isn't that like a don't ask, don't tell?
Outside of the company, yeah. But like within the company, we talk about it, yeah, because that's totally legal. But
what else? I mean, you talk to these other managers.
Yeah, there's like
so you see all of the wins and losses and problems and everything in our office. Other agents, like other managers, are seeing them all in their offices. Mm-hmm. Like there's hundreds and hundreds of transactions going on every year, and you're hearing about all the highs and lows.
Right.
Like, what are some of the cool things?
Oh man, some of the cool things that I hear about from the other offices. What we talk a lot about is like people maybe who
make a big jump,
yeah, we talk about that, like, or even like slowly, like, look at that. They just did what we told them to do, like what we knew would work, and they believed us and did it, and now they're kicking ass. Yeah. Like I know a couple weeks ago, you guys, you and Chris were talking about Aaron quite a bit. And, when he came to Rule and Roll, he's like doing like average production, like most agents, and now he's probably number one, maybe number two, depends where everything falls out at the end of the year. But, for a long time he has been. But again, it's like he embraced all of what we had shown him and what he'd learned through Ninja. And it was like, these are the things you do to add value. If you add value, you'll have raving fans. So you got the book there, right? And you'll get the referrals. And, if you just always put them first and focus on it and stay in touch, like it's going to happen. And he did that. And it was like, boom, 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 boom. And then it was like, don't focus on the piddly things. Like if there's something that you can pay somebody $20 to do, so you can go do high earning activities, go do that. And he like right away is like, I'm getting an assistant. Cool, do it. And he did. And then he bumped up a little bit and he just kept going. And he's a machine. But we see that a ton. Like there are stories like that in all of our offices. And and then like what's really cool for us, for the managers, I think, I know for me and for most of them, seeing what you guys do then to, we're real big on like the life list, like the bucket list, right?
The bucket list.
Yeah.
It's like one of the big things you do right away.
Yeah. Yeah, because you got to know why you're doing this. Like, what's the point? Why are you showing houses at 8:00 at night and running around on the weekends, right? Because you want to earn and make a living and do some cool shit while you're at it.
Yeah.
And like seeing what they do, what agents accomplish personally, and that's like Chris and Caroline are real big into that too. Especially, I mean, Caroline really is, but I feel like Chris is like, so what'd you find out? Like, what's the coolest thing somebody wants to do in your office? And I'm like, oh, okay, well, I like didn't write it down for you, but
the first conversation I ever had with Chris, I shook his hand, said hi, like, hey, what's going on, blah, 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 at the new agent
like overview.
And then he called me after a live at 9 that I talked about morning routine on. And the first, like, we were just, chatting, morning routine, like, hey, what do you do? What do you do? Yeah, that's cool. Oh, that's great. Yeah, why do you do that? Boo, 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 boo. 5-minute conversation. And then, like, out of nowhere, he's like, hey, you mind sending me your life list?
Yeah.
I'm like, what?
Yeah.
I hadn't even done one yet. And I'm like, oh, yep, let me get one going here.
Yeah.
I'll send it right over. And then, he shared his with me, and I was like inspired.
That
by
dude
that.
has a rock star life list.
Yeah.
That thing is awesome.
Yeah.
Like, he always liked mine. And then I saw his, I'm like, damn. And then he like links to like websites with the stuff that he wants to have and accomplish and stuff. Yeah. That was awesome.
Yeah. I was like, that really speaks to, like, why he's doing it and everything, like how he supports agents and what he really loves. And it's just like,
he had this like awesome quote. He just said it in in our most recent staff meeting, regional staff, all the managers together. And he's like talking about like, okay, what can we do? Like, how can we streamline more things for the agent? How can we make sure that they are staying in touch with people regularly and automate as much of it? Just keep them in flow with the people automatically so they can focus on the other activities, but still be adding value and all this. And so we're talking about like, well, if you do this, and he had this idea like, okay, we'll do this and we'll do that. We'll do that. I'm like, but that's time consuming. Like, you're going to need a couple people working on that, like, full time. Like, that's going to cost. Like, is it going to be like, do we charge them for this? And he's like, no, like, other companies will charge for this. He goes, but he goes, other companies want to make money from their agents. I want to make money with my agents. And like the way he said it with like this determined passion, yeah. I'm like, shit, man, that's not a line. Like, you genuinely want to be like a partner and be like, look what we did together.
Yes. I'm going to go do freaking open houses for that man.
Right.
I'm going to run through walls for that man.
I know. I'm like, God, that was awesome. I wish I had a video of that.
Yeah, that is cool.
It was cool.
That is good stuff.
Yeah.
So what do you... couple things, like, as a manager too, like, I think you have such a cool perspective that I think the audience needs to hear.
Okay.
What would be, first of all, you get quite a few people who want to become a realtor.
Yep.
And so how many of them are actually fit for it, or actually, like, you think would do well, or like how many of them just come to you and you just know like they would be a good one, or,
right.
What are you looking for, and what can you really tell from somebody when they're ready to actually do it?
Typically people that have some kind of entrepreneurial background are more likely to succeed, at least initially, like really succeed and understand. Because there's kind of two mindsets when you tell people like, okay, this is gonna, you're not gonna make dick for the first year.
Yeah.
It's gonna be really hard, a lot of work. You're gonna work the hardest you have and make the least you have for a little while, and then is
that your go-to saying to really weed some people out?
Yeah, Mike uses that. Like, you're gonna work the hardest you ever have and make the least you ever had for a year.
And you look them straight in the eye.
Yeah.
How do you like that?
Yeah. Still interested? Huh? Sound like a lot of fun now?
Yeah.
No. But no, yeah, Mike says that. I'll say something to that effect too. And I just say like, yeah, you're going to have to work a ton and your income is going to be down here. Your level of work is going to be up here. And then like year 2, it's going to kind of go like this, right? And then year 3, it's going to kind of be like this. And then at that point, like it might go down a little bit, but then it's like more up to you and like, okay, what are you going to systemize? You're going to get an assistant, things like that. And then it can be like your work's never going away. It's always going to be at a moderate level, but then the income can really go up. But it's, you have to provide really outstanding service. You have to provide a great experience for people because that's what they're paying us for. Like, people think like, well, they're paying me for market knowledge, they're paying me for this. It's like, no, it's the whole package. Like they want your market knowledge, they want your connections, they want your advice, but it's got to be a really good experience too. Like you can be smart, but if you're a dick, it's not going to matter.
Yeah.
And you can be super nice, but if you don't know anything, it's not going to matter. But if you can be a decent person to them, offer them a ton of good advice, walk them through the process clearly, set expectations early, like that's what people will pay for. And, you add value and they'll pay for it and they'll be happy.
Yeah.
That's the thing. It was like my World Series tickets.
Like you were willing to pay the extra because you knew.
If it was just a game, no, I'm not paying that much. That's insane.
Yeah. But
to see my team in the World Series with the kids. Yeah, with the kids and they happen to win. Like it was like, oh yeah, it's a lot, but it's worth it. No matter what happens, at least we'll have had this experience. But like as soon as he slapped home plate, it was like, oh my God, best money I ever spent.
Yes.
So, and that's what you want to do. That's what you want them walking away with. Like, wow, that was the best money I ever spent. That guy was awesome. It's like Beth Gilbreth. We usually get like closing gifts and stuff. She's the agent that consistently gets gifts from her clients.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And I'm like, you know why? Because she knows what she's doing and she's super nice.
Yeah.
She is like the greatest person.
She is.
Yeah. It's ridiculous how nice she is. But people appreciate it. You think she ever doesn't have a return client? Like if you're buying somebody Gremlins for Christmas 3 months after you closed.
Yeah.
Like you like that agent.
Oh yeah.
You felt like you got your money's worth from that agent.
Gremlins are freaking good. Sheesh. That is outstanding.
Yes.
Yeah. So sometimes people will come to you and you can just tell like, is it like, maybe not now. Like,
yeah. So that's what I kind of tell people. Like most of the time, unless I forget to mention it, usually I start in the first like few minutes, like one of 3 things is going to happen. Either we're both going to be like, this is a great fit. Let's do this. Let's move forward. Or we'll say, this is a great fit. You're not quite ready yet. So let's create a plan for when you are ready or to get you ready. Or third, one of us is going to be like, yeah, this isn't going to work. And I'm like, and if you think that at any time, just tell me. Because I don't need to keep telling you like how it all works if you decided that, Now, if I think they're wrong, if I think it will work, I might stick a little more time into it. But usually if they think it's not going to work, I probably don't either. And there's been times where like I'm kind of going through things and like just looking at like their eyes, it's like, okay, so here's the initial expenses. And it's like, your eyes are basketballs.
Yeah.
Were you not expecting that? Yeah. Oh no, I don't have that much money.
You could probably tell too, because like if someone's really serious about it, they've already figured out that it's going to cost them like $3,000. It's going to take them like 3 months.
Yeah.
And
if you're really serious, like you've done a lot, like the people that, it is funny though. Cause you like some people you just never know, like I said, I wouldn't have hired me, but I'm still at it,
Yeah.
A little bit different role, but I'm still at it. There's like when they come in like, okay, I've been through the 60 hours and I'm in the middle of the 36 hours and I need a place to go. I'm like, oh, all right. Well, like you're a go-getter. You're a self-starter. Like that's pretty key. Like you have to be a self-starter. If you are waiting for somebody to tell you to work, this is not for you. If you do not like talking to people and maybe calling somebody just to see how they're doing and having a conversation, this isn't for you. If you're not able to manage time and money, this is not for you. There's just a few things. Yeah.
We have some ways we can help you out, but
yeah.
you really got to have some there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think we're probably the best place to start for sure. And obviously,
Yeah.
I think we're the best place to stay forever. Frankly.
Forever. Yeah.
That's why we have some of the top agents in the eastern half of Iowa. But yeah, like starting out, I think we have a ton to offer people. And especially if they utilize it, and like I said, I love watching these people grow because it's like we show them the way and they do it. Like if you can't take direction, this might not work the best for you either.
Might not be best for you. I feel like there's a movie quote that fits well in there. You're the movie quote master.
I am the movie quote guy. I don't know if I'm the master.
You're gonna have a hard time. Isn't that a movie quote?
Probably. I'm sure that's been in a movie.
You're gonna have a hard time if you
hit the bricks, pal. It's another Glenn Ross. You got to watch that. If you have not watched that, watch it.
I haven't.
Yeah.
What's your favorite movie?
Little disclaimer for the folks at home. A lot of swear words in that one. A lot of them. Pretty constant. There's actually a YouTube video of just the swear words. That's awesome. But that's my favorite real estate movie for sure.
Glenn Ross?
Yeah.
That's a real estate movie.
It's a real estate movie. It is not how we sell real estate. It is not how anybody should sell real estate. But it's definitely not how we do it. But it is a fun movie to watch. It's like if a stockbroker like The Wolf of Wall Street, you should not be treating your clients that way. But it's a fun movie to watch. Yeah.
Because The Wolf of Wall Street, I freaking loved that movie. Oh, God, that's so good.
Oh, yeah.
Good. What would be the number one advice you have for an aspiring realtor? Maybe someone who's looking to get into the biz, serious about it, and has potential.
You're serious about it? You have potential.
Depends, probably.
Yeah, it depends a little bit.
But...
So, my advice for you is going to be different than my advice for Carl. Carl knows 10,000 people in Dubuque. 10. Right. You know more now, but
no, that was what I was going to say when I said depends. It's it really depends on how many people you know, especially with our systems, probably.
Yeah. But like Chris said a couple weeks, persistence is pretty key, and not even actually. You know what is really important? And it was funny because there's a recruiting company that we work with a little bit, and the one time he had talked about grit, and I'm like, yeah, that's the word I was looking for. I did this speech. I was in Toastmasters for a little while, and I did this speech on grit because I'd climbed Mount Rainier. And I went with Tom Round, who's this amazing frickin' 100-miler like you, but multiple times,
and winner.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. He's doing crap all over the country and amazing athlete. And then I have this decathlon guy and two professional mountain climbers and this lady who runs a gym and everybody is a superior physical specimen. You look at the group picture and it's there I am with my my gut hanging over my safety harness or whatever. And I'm so how come 10 of us went out there, but I was one of the only 4 that went the whole way. And I'm it was grit. I was determined to do it. I did not go out there to see if I could do it. I went out there because I wanted to get there. Technically, so it was me, Mary. Oh, dude, kid's a stud, and I can't think of his name right now, but it'll come to me later. Ryan Francois.
Francois, that's a badass name.
Yeah. Mary Van Holcomb. Sorry if you're listening, Mary, and I screwed that up. Ryan and Tom Round and me. We were the 4 that made it all the way. And, a couple people had run into some issues, digestive issues and stuff. But what was
my favorite?
I never should have been in the 4 that we didn't get all the way to the top. We got fogged in and it basically became too dangerous to keep moving. Glacier started shifting and stuff and there's lightning below us and stuff like that. But we got within 100 feet of the top or something. It was we were close. And Tom's let's just wait it out. And I'm I mean, if Tom's gonna, I will, but anyway, the point was, it's like, you just like that intestinal fortitude. You just got to be determined to do it. And I think that is the case with real estate. If you're determined to do it and like, you're not going to let setbacks take you out, like you'll be fine.
You're going to find a way.
Yeah. You just got to like, and have some money saved up. Like,
and don't forget the money.
Yeah. There's the whole like emotional part of it, but then there's just like the straight numbers part of it. Have some money saved up. It takes a little bit. But yeah, if you can just like keep your eyes on the prize, that's the main thing. And be willing to learn and do things and step out of your comfort zone. Like, you gotta, if you're not comfortable talking to people, well, do it. Yeah. Just do it. It's like so what agents have to be good at is doing that stuff with the public. What I got to be good at is doing stuff with other agents and seeing if I can recruit people like you who came from another company, and people that maybe want to get out of whatever job they're in. But it's funny, like, how many agents are like, oh no, I'm really happy, I don't want to talk to you. I'm like, I don't even know if I want to recruit you. Yeah. Like, I just want to get to know you. Like, for one, it's good to know who you're going to be working with, because this is the rare business where you are working with your competitors on a regular basis. Like, I can't think of another industry where you do that.
Yeah.
Like, okay, person who I'm trying to have a better year than, let's collaborate on this and make it happen.
I just saw Aaron and Cherry put one together just closed this last week. I'm like, coming down to crunch time.
Yep.
Both
of them are like,
two. Aaron's like, I gotta close this. She's like, I gotta close this.
We canceled each other out. Yeah. But so that's
it's interesting.
That's
it's
the thing. Yeah. And I'm like, hey, let's grab lunch or something. Oh no, I'm really happy where I am. I'm like, that's great. Like, I just want to find out, like, yeah, maybe I can help you, maybe I can't. Maybe what's important to you does not fall in with our core beliefs and values, and that's cool. But it's going to pay off if we know each other and have some sort of relationship down the road. Like, if you have a bad deal with one of my agents and I know who you are and I know a little something about you, and I'm not going into this situation cold as I try to like help you figure it out, who doesn't benefit from that?
It's a win-win.
Bingo.
Here's the thing,
win-win-win.
And you gave me a shout out earlier for the podcast, share, subscribe, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to give a shout out to Jeff. Here's the deal. I was the like perfect like example of someone who'd be like, I'm happy where I'm at. Like, I probably would have said that. Yeah. I would have got a random call. Oh, geez, 563. Here we go. Hello. Hi, my name's Rob with American Realty. How can I help you? You would have said, whatever.
Hey, Rob, it's Jeff Hefel over at Rule and Rule. Do you have a minute? Yeah.
I would have said, yeah, let's go for it. Yeah. And, I probably would have got lunch with you or got a beer with you, whatever. But here's the deal, folks. If you're listening, if you're another agent in the Dubuque area, if you're listening, I was super happy at American Realty. Yeah. I loved it. I thought it was great. I thought it was the best brokerage to be at in town. I thought all the people there were great. I loved working with the people. I loved everything about the company. But I didn't know anything else about another company. I didn't know anything about other brokerages. And soon enough, I started to find out, we can go into our story. We met at a chamber event. Yep. I got a book from you. I wrote a thank you, blah, blah, blah.
Well, we should give some props to my daughter, Annalise, who actually said, hey, my teacher, Mr. Rottler's a realtor. I'm like, oh, really? I'm like, oh, I think I recognize that name. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That was, I remember her telling me that you were a realtor as well. Yeah. It was awesome. She hossed up and delivered the package. She delivered the goods. Yep. It's sitting right here, folks.
Was it Ninja selling?
Yup.
Yeah. I had my daughter be my delivery person right there.
Winner. Right there.
Boom.
So here's the deal, folks. And this is my shout out to Jeff. And this is probably, I always ask a question at the end, like, how can the audience help you?
Yeah.
Here it is. I'm not even going to ask you. I'm going to tell. People, I was an agent in Dubuque. I was like, I'm super happy where I'm at. I love it. I'm going to do great next year, blah, blah, blah. I meet Jeff. We have a good time conversation. We share some beers at a chamber event. It was kosher. It was great. I said thank you. I wrote him a thank you. I said, hey, thanks for meeting with me, whatever. He stayed in touch. Nothing crazy. All of a sudden, Annalise delivers the goods, the goods are this ninja selling book. And I was like, I kind of got like 8 other books on my list right now. I read quite a bit, so I'll get to it. And I remember telling you that. I was like, I'll get to it. So as soon as I read it, like I read the whole thing in like a day. And I don't read that quick.
Right.
I was like, I'm not going to put this book down. This is designed specifically for me to read.
Yeah.
Right. So I read the book. It's great. And then staying in touch, I find out that Rule and Rule has all of these ways they can support me and like all of these things that I didn't even know I was looking for.
Yeah.
In a company, in a brokerage, like didn't even know they were an option. Like I had previously been putting little stamps on all of my freaking handwritten notes, and I had been mailing a ton of them out. And my mailman Craig was like, "Dude, you got to figure out how to get these in the mailbox somehow." Like they were getting rained on outside. It was a mess.
Making extra work for Craig.
Rule and Rule's got it figured out. They help me out they help their agents out with postage so they can stay in touch better. Yep. Anyways, long story short, if you're listening to this, you're an agent in the area or you're an aspiring agent in the area, definitely check out Rule and Rule. Talk to Jeff. He can help you understand more about how Rule and Rule can help you. And if you're like me, you don't really know what you don't know until you have that conversation. So
yeah, that's a good point. You don't know what you don't know until you talk to somebody.
That is exactly it. So just talk to him. Have a sandwich or something.
Yeah. You know what? There's one other thing I want help with.
Let's go.
Okay. This is the thing I want to help with. For the last 2 years, I have been researching, experimenting with distilling. Right? Let's say hypothetically, I've not done anything outside of federal law, but I really want to start a distillery. I think that's cool, right? And I looked in like, okay, what's the zoning? What's the TTB stuff? Like there's just tons that goes into this.
Distilling is like hard liquor.
Yeah. Distilled with something added to it. I just held up the Kettle One and the Kahlua for anybody that wasn't
listeners.
Watching. So yeah, so actually what I planned to do in 2020 was like, I'm going to visit a ton of distilleries and like see, how they're doing it, what's working,
So you pivoted and you zoomed in.
Yeah, I pivoted and didn't go anywhere. Like I checked out a distillery in Honolulu when we were there. And that was all right. I checked out St. Croix last year. We went to the Cruise and Rum distillery. Love Cruise and Rum.
Cruise and Rum. Yep. Cruise and Rum.
And and I was talking to my buddy the other day. I'm like, hey, dude, I want to do this. He's like, yeah, you want to do all kinds of stuff. Yeah, you and your big ideas. So what I really want is anybody that's interested in this, anybody that has a lead on somebody who would be like a good head distiller, anybody that thinks that this would be something cool to be part of and wants to try to make a good product and make money at it, I want you to reach out and see what we can do so that I can rub it in my buddy's face.
Yes.
Yes.
Is that your ultimate why?
No.
No.
No. It's not
Come
my
on, we gotta
why.
know the ultimate hook.
That's my right now why. No, I like booze. I'm just gonna say it. Okay. It's cool. I like the whole process. It's like a really long time consuming process to make the mash and distill it and all that stuff. But there's so much, like I see all these wineries and breweries and I'm like, and I don't like beer and I don't like wine that much. So I'm like, God, why isn't there like tons of places that make booze? Oh, there are a few. And it's like one of the hottest growing segments. And, I don't know, when something's already the hottest growing segment or a hottest growing segment,
like a brewery,
I don't know. Yeah. But they all seem to do pretty well. And, it's not a guarantee. It's going to be a ton of hard work. But if anybody's interested in that and they'd like to explore.
That'd be cool.
Yeah. Because I've got a location picked out. I've got a name, got a lot of the background.
Is the name confidential?
It's not. It's sitting on my desk. sitting on my desk. I got the little logo drawn out. It has to do with my past.
What's it? What's the name? What's the logo?
The logo is a trowel sitting on bricks that have just been laid with a brick wall behind it, and it's Brick Mason. Brick Mason Distillery. That's the name I like.
10 pounds of mortar in one freaking scoop. Good
you know
stuff.
why? Because bricklayers drink a lot. So name it after them. Yeah. It's cool.
That is cool.
Yeah.
All right, closing questions. Favorite book?
Boom. Favorite book? I would say first book I remember being my favorite was the Back to the Future Part 2 movie novelization. Weren't expecting that one, were you?
No.
Let's see. Let's get into a more serious book. Another book I remember being like a favorite was Born on the 4th of July, the Ron Kovic autobiography. That was really intense. It was like, that was the first.
Is Ron Kovic?
Ron Kovic is the guy in Born on the 4th of July. He's a Army veteran, got shot in the spine, I think, in Vietnam. Almost lost his leg because like the VA hospital at the time sucked, and like the machine that was like keeping whatever going like stopped for like 3 days, and I was like, well, you're probably just gonna lose your leg, and then it started back up one time. That was the first movie I saw that I liked the book better than the movie.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's a good movie too. But I know that you're like into like the self-help books and the cool stuff like that. So
what's cool is like I am currently working with a buyer client who's a Vietnam veteran without a leg.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
You should ask him if he ever read or saw Born on the 4th of July. Like the book was super intense. Like it got it. Ron Kovic killed an American with friendly fire.
Blue on blue.
Yeah, it was.
That's intense.
Yeah, it was super intense. It was crazy to read.
Yeah.
And like went and told their parents, like, hey, I think I killed your son. And I'm like, oh my God. Like how horrible would that have to be to go do?
That'd be terrible.
Yeah. Like you're on the same side, but the sun's in your eyes or something. So anyway, I really like that. That was like the first book that wasn't just like some goofy thing that I was like, wow, this is crazy. But as far as like business books and stuff, that's actually pretty hard to narrow down to one. I just read Atomic Habits, and that was good. That was pretty cool. And I get his email now.
So do I. 3, 2, 1.
Yeah.
You know what's crazy is like that is a very good book. And like I feel like a lot of these authors now, Brendan Burchard, James Clear, like they're gathering information from tons and tons of other authors from the past, and it's like, man, there still is new, fresh stuff.
Yeah.
In like self-help and development stuff.
I would say we've read a lot at work. Almost every year, Caroline or Chris will provide a book to either the management team or the whole company. Good to Great was pretty awesome.
Haven't read it.
It's a good one.
Good to Great one?
Yep. It's a good to great one. I like that. Go Giver was good. Probably the one that I thought that I have read, the one that I feel like that I have read that could most have an impact on your business is 4DX, which you have the 4 disciplines of execution.
Freaking stellar.
Yeah. It's just like, damn, if you like figure out what the wig is and go for it, like
easy to implement
boom.
too.
Yeah.
That's a book where like if you only read one book like 20, 30 times, that'd be a good one probably.
Yeah. But yeah, The Life Changer was Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Gotta be.
Which now I kind of feel like Robert Kiyosaki has lost it.
He's gone off the deep end.
His Twitter feed is weird.
He's like politically charged.
He's politically charged, but he's like, buy gold, it's going to go to 5,000. And then the next day, dump all your gold, it's crap. It's like, dude, what? He's really into Bitcoin now, though. He's been pretty consistent on buy Bitcoin and buy silver. But yeah, just like, I'm like, dude, you get older. You get older. I don't know.
Hey, just stick to your roots, man. Everyone loves you. Don't ruin it.
I know. And for the people that have read it, they're probably like, what? But I think Rich Dad Poor Dad and the Cash Flow Quadrant, those two books, like the parts about his life would make a great movie.
I have not read the Cash Flow Quadrant.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, he talks about inventing the surfer wallet or bringing it to the market and then like losing everything. And I'm like, dude, yeah, your lifestyle. Like he was in Vietnam. He was a helicopter pilot in Vietnam.
He still has both legs though.
Yeah, he does, and he can walk and everything. Yeah, but yeah, I was just like, wow, this is like, that would be a pretty kick-ass movie, and you could even do it like, I feel like if you made that movie the same way they made
Die Hard.
No, no, not what I was thinking of. The Big Short, like where they like also implemented like, okay, this is how this works. This is how derivatives work. And Margot Robbie's going to explain that to you now. Like, I feel like you could like help people become better at like real estate investing and business and stuff, but also tell this guy's life story, and it would be cool. So, Bob, if you're out there, you want to make a movie, you want me to be part of it, ignore my comments on your tweets. Let's do this.
Have you read Extreme Ownership or anything by Jocko Willink?
I haven't. I heard Jocko on Joe talking about like training the police and stuff like that. The guy seemed like a badass. I did watch his TED Talk on Extreme Ownership. I thought that was pretty good. I'll have to check out the book.
That's another mindset one.
Yeah.
One of those.
Mindset's
There's
key.
like probably
and
5 of them.
It's easy to let your mindset go to shit.
Yeah.
Like you got to focus on keeping a good mindset.
You have to.
Yeah.
I have probably 5 books on here where I'm just like, when I read that, it like completely shifted my mind.
Yeah.
That's another one. Cool. What do you got for... Okay, here we go. Hobbies. Go. List them.
Hobbies. I like watching movies. I like watching The Office with my daughter. Well, any of the kids. Sarah's not a big comedy fan, unfortunately. Or she's funny. I don't know. She doesn't get comedy the way we do. But yeah, love The Office. Love all movies. Seen Rocky like 25 times. I don't know. I've seen like the Rocky. We just finished watching all 6 of the original Rocky movies.
It comes with the time of year.
Yep, exactly. The Christmas movies, just like Die Hard.
All right. So if you had to point to one thing that you've either learned, developed, or were just born with that makes you successful, what would that be?
It's a good one. I just talked a bunch about grit, but I don't know that I have that all the time. But that might be it. That could be it. Like one thing learned, developed, or just born with. Man. I think probably I would say, I don't know if I was born with it, developed it. I don't know if I developed it. I think a lot of like good business habits and things like that came from my dad. But I think probably like willingness to like learn new things, listen to different perspectives, see how other people are doing stuff. I feel like that has probably helped a lot. Like there's been things that I talk to somebody about how they do it. Well, and like, yeah, like I guess willingness to like use one of the buzzwords of 2020, pivot and shift.
Pivot.
Yeah, gotta pivot, gotta shift. But yeah, being willing to pivot. Like my dad, when he first started farming, and they were like technically like the poor farmers when they got started. And he'd poured a bunch of concrete to lay out this milking parlor in the basement or in the bottom of the barn. And then like the neighbor came over and said, oh, you should have laid it out this way. So the next day he jackhammers out all the concrete and redoes it because it's a more efficient way. And like most people are like, well, I just spent a few $1,000s on this and I don't have that much money, so I'm just going to focus on this. But it was like, you know what? It's worth losing this few $1,000s and doing it right. So I'm not always like that, but I feel like when it's important, I can be. And I'm willing to shift from like, okay, I'm going to reduce my debt to like, you know what? Now's a good time to take on some debt. So I would say
2.375 on a 30-year loan these days.
Boom.
Sheesh.
Just buy. I don't care if you need a house. Just buy it.
Yeah. Just buy the dang thing. Who's someone you want to meet? I think I can guess this, but I'll let you go.
I don't know. What's your guess?
Come on. You go first. I'll write it down so I don't cheat.
Okay. There's a few people. Like strictly like written on the bucket list.
Yeah.
the people on the bucket list, which some of them may come off, I don't know, but there's 3 people. There's 4 people that all happen to be actors. Sylvester Stallone.
I wrote him down. Number 1.
I knew you'd write him down. Got the picture on the wall, him in front of my office. Stallone. I'd like to meet Harrison Ford. I'm not like as gung-ho about that as I used to be. I don't know why, but I don't know. I would love to meet Mel Gibson too. Again, like he's a little different now that he's older. I don't know, but I'd still kind of like to meet him. And Vince Vaughn. I would love to hang out with Vince Vaughn sometime. And Sally Atwell, the manager of our Davenport office, got to hang out with Vince Vaughn.
Hang out with him?
Yes.
Oh, geez.
Yes. She went to, she is like classmates with somebody, Peyton, the coach of the Saints.
Sean Payton?
Yes.
Sally Atwell is a classmate of Sean Payton.
Yeah. And
what the heck?
Vince Vaughn was there. They're all from like the Chicagoland area. And yeah, they were hanging out. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. And Holly Lovell, who was in our office for a while, she went on vacation in the Chicagoland area. She didn't hang out with them. They more like took like sneaky photos of them and stuff and then talked to him at the end of the weekend or whatever. But I just feel like Vince is just like a cool guy. Big libertarian. Not a lot of libertarians in Hollywood. But yeah, he'd be a cool guy to meet. But like Stallone, I just love that whole, like you talk about grit, you know, the dude writes this movie in like 3 days, tries to sell it. Nobody wants to buy it unless he's not in it. He won't sell it unless he's in it. He has to sell his freaking dog so he has enough money to get by until he sells the script. Finally does, gets the movie made, finds the guy who bought the dog and buys it back. Like, yeah, it's like intense. Like,
sheesh.
Yeah.
That's big.
Yeah. And then like, you know, he was like, basically he and Schwarzenegger were like the 2 biggest stars of the 80s, you know? And he's like an awesome comeback story because like Rocky 4, Rambo 3 is like on top of the world and then kind of dies out like Rocky 5's like a dismal failure. Home Alone beats it at the box office. And it's like, there's not much. And then Cliffhanger comes out. That's pretty cool. Everything else kind of sucks for a while. And then he comes back, 2006, Rocky Balboa. And boom, he's like back. He back, convinces them to make this. Yeah, it's super low budget, just like the first one. But they make it. He's back. All of a sudden, he does another Rambo movie, does The Expendables. Yeah, it's just...
Beast.
He is a beast. Yeah.
Be a good one. Yeah. I wrote down Sylvester Stallone. I knew that would be your guy.
Yeah. Might have been all the pictures in the office. Posters.
Dead giveaway. Yeah. What do you think makes people successful?
Grit.
It's got to be.
It's grit, baby.
Got to stick with it.
Yeah.
Last question.
Yes.
Bonus fun question.
Yes. You're not going to use the normal one, so you're thinking of a new one.
I was considering it. Why don't you tell people how you would rank these, if you would rank them from your favorite to least favorite? Pancake, waffle, French toast.
The old standard. Yes.
The gold standard.
The gold standard. Oh, everything's okay. Yeah, I would gladly rank those. My favorite would be French toast. I love French toast. Then I would say pancakes. And lastly would be waffles.
And why?
French toast, because it's awesome. And there's a bunch of different ways to make it. You can make like sourdough French toast. You can make regular French toast. I've seen like there's cinnamon. You can put different stuff in it. It's like hearty, you know, and like you can't like, I mean, you could screw it up maybe, but like you can screw up a pancake and like do it wrong, but like French toast, like it's pretty easy.
Yeah, you're gonna get it.
But yeah, and then like waffles, I don't know, they're waffles. I know I've heard a couple people on the show that are like, oh, you put ice cream on them and stuff, and I'm like, oh, maybe that may be okay, but like you need a waffle iron, or you just buy Eggos or whatever. Like nobody makes frozen pancakes or frozen French toast, right?
Yeah.
You got to make that shit fresh, and it's good. And yeah, man, I love some good French toast, maple syrup, butter.
My favorite is like, I like French toast the best because you can put fruit on it. It's like,
I think you can put fruit on anything.
Fruit on all of those?
I think you can.
Like
You
blueberry
technically
pancakes?
you probably put ice cream on everything too.
You probably could.
Yeah.
You could probably put fruit on a waffle or pancake or
Yeah.
French toast. Like
Yeah.
all of them.
But like French toast is basically like bread dipped in a pancake. It's so good.
So good.
So good.
Alrighty, folks, we're going to wrap it up. Contact information. If you want to carry on the conversation, reach out to Jeff, other realtors in the area, or if you know someone who wants to start a distillery,
Yes.
hit them up.
Absolutely.
563-542-3345 is the phone number, or jeffhefel at ruralhomes.com.
RUHL.
RUHL. I always do
rural.
have to spell it out. It will be in the show notes as well.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah. So, Jeff, thanks a ton for being on the show. It was great. Love the Colorado Bulldogs.
Yeah.
Good little drink there. So
I'm glad I finally came on.
you got on the show.
I hope the listeners got some value. That was my big concern. What
Tons.
do I have to add value? I had a lot of value in that first part we didn't record, unfortunately.
True.
But I'll come back.
Yeah. There'll
I'll
be a phase 2.
I'll come back for 40. I'll do every 20th one.
There we go.
All right.
Like it. So, So Jeff, thanks for being on. Really appreciate you. So, listeners, thanks you again for tuning in for episode number 20 of Real Estate in the Tri-State. And until next week.
All right, guys. Thank you for listening to today's episode of Real Estate in the Tri-State. We want to encourage all of our listeners to send in any and all real estate questions to us at rottlerpodcast@gmail.com. More details in our show notes.
And as always, let's have a great day, folks.